Yeah.
I
Fix it.
need to fix it. You can go ahead and announce it, Diana.
Hi, you guys. We're back for Finance Friday. Hola a todos. Estamos otra vez aquí para. I can
We're
see.
going through technical difficulties. 1 second. Everyone, happy Friday. This is Bilingual Finance Fridays for those of you who are joining us through Facebook, through YouTube, through Twitter. Here we go again with some technical difficulties. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. That's what's up.
We do it all over, all ourselves. So
Yeah,
we're
we're
like,
doing it all ourselves, y'all. So bear with us aquí. So for those that don't know, we are also live on Instagram, right? And I'm actually going to show everyone yeah, we're live on Instagram, and so we're also live on our camera here. In addition, we're live on our phones in addition to the computer.
yeah. So you guys can join through YouTube, Facebook,
That's right.
Twitter.
Twitter.
Okay, I'm on Instagram.
And in fact, Diana, today we have both your Facebooks live.
Also my Facebook, the
Yes.
Finance Friday and in my personal one. Okay.
we have both your Facebooks. Hello, who's joining us? We can welcome people that are joining us.
Hello everyone. Hola a todos. Estamos otra vez aquí. We're back every Friday at 6:30.
Yeah, every Friday at 6:30. So Diana, you know what I was thinking? Okay, so last Friday, I want to share with everyone. So last Friday, Diana was taking us through a very interactive, fun process of creating our 5-year plan, which we know by through scientific research, neural scientific research, we know that it's really hard for us to see ourselves in the future. And so Diana has the techniques, she has the skills and the expertise to coach us through that process. And so one thing that I love that came out of last week was that one of our friends, she had commented on what we were doing, and she mentioned what her financial priorities were, ¿verdad? And then Diana said, gave her feedback, and then within that process, our friend was like, you know what, I'm gonna switch my priorities around. And so it gave me an idea, Diana. You know those in the newspaper how there's like a columnist, remember, like Dear Abby? It's a
Yes,
relationship
yes, yes, yes,
columnist.
yes.
You are now going to be the expert financial live.
Yeah, so if you guys have questions, I can answer them. I can try to do like a little mini coaching session while we are live. Okay. I know there's more people, but maybe like I think just kind of seeing it and hearing it, sometimes we just have to hear the process to really understand how we can use it to benefit ourselves and to really understand which are our priorities when it comes to our goals, right? So sometimes we just need that extra, clarification on our goals and for them to be a little bit more clear, to put it into perspective for us to really be able to see, what is my goal today, and and what are the steps or the processes that I have to do to be able to accomplish this goal.
Yes, I love it. I just popped it out. I'm sorry. I'm like messing with the equipment here. But yes, and so I think we should maybe even think about changing the name to Dear Diana, I have a financial question.
I remember that.
Right?
Even there's even a show about it. I remember it.
Yeah. What
Kind
do
of like
y'all think? Should we change it to Dear Diana? And then
I
we can pick her brain every Friday.
I mean, they can always ask the questions, and I'll try to answer it live if I'm able to do it. There's other questions that might be like might need more work and more, more coaching. But if it's something that I feel like I can do like a quick one, then I can go ahead and definitely do it. Because that's the whole point of Finance Friday, for everybody to understand what the goals are and what is the action plan that they can take to achieve that goal,
Yeah.
overall.
Yes. Thank you, Adam's Journey. Thank you for joining us.
And we have to say it in Spanish. I almost forgot.
Ya se me olvidó. Bienvenidos a Todos los viernes son para las finanzas. A ver, casi se los olvida.
Se nos olvida a veces o nos recuerdan para poder cambiar a español. So, ¿quieres explicar, Cristina, qué hicimos la otra semana
Sí.
en el plan de 5 años?
Sí, pues la semana pasada estuve bien agradecida a Diana porque pues nos explicó cómo poder hacer un plan de 5 años, que es muy importante, ¿verdad? Porque pues los científicos del cerebro dicen que es muy difícil para nosotros poder ver nuestro futuro o poder sentir que pues hasta tenemos ese futuro porque el cerebro no puede capturar eso. Y pues Diana, como ella tiene mucho conocimiento porque es consejera de finanzas, ella los pudo ayudar a hacer este plan. So, no se olviden, nosotros guardamos todas estas grabaciones, van a estar, están en Facebook, están en YouTube, so si gustan, pueden ir y chequear estas grabaciones de la semana pasada. Y otra cosa que estamos gozando aquí con Diana es porque también este espacio es también para que nosotros podamos disfrutar de la noción de Diana, ¿verdad? Porque estamos y somos bien bendecidos, pero también saber que este espacio también es para poder preguntarle a Diana nuestras preguntas de finanzas, ¿verdad? Y todos, que todos puedan sentirse confortables, que se puedan sentir que pues este es un espacio para nuestra comunidad, ¿verdad? Y además de eso, también tenemos un conocimiento, ¿verdad? Que para muchos de nosotros pensar de las finanzas nos causa mucha ansiedad, ¿verdad, Diana?
Sí.
So, nuestro show lo comenzamos con un ancla y la semana pasada hice un ancla de visualización y quería preguntarle a Diana qué clase de ancla quisiera este día. ¿Cómo quisieras comenzar, Diana?
I think you're better with this one.
How would you like to
um,
start? So every
I
our
think
trauma informed approach.
I think we all can look around our room and look for three things that are pink. That's my favorite color. So let's look
Okay.
for three things and then just look for them and you can mention what they are. Maybe you guys can comment. Um, my room is pink and I have a pink I have a pink shirt and I have pink nails, so I can do that one easily.
Oh my god.
What about you, Christina?
Oh, I got pink nails too.
Oh, you do. I don't know.
That's my favorite color too.
Mine's too. Two more. Do you have two
Yes.
more things?
Well, se llama My Son's Studio. Yes, that amazing painting there from our oh, I don't think you can see it
I can see it.
on
Whoa, whoa. You know
Instagram.
what? Not on Instagram. You can see it
And and I
on
can't move
Facebook.
anything anymore, y'all. I'm sorry, but there is a painting here by Jorge, who is an amazing artist based out of Oakland, Abstract Oakland. Check him out. A ver, so my nails, esto. Y también pienso que este libro tiene un poquito de pink. This
Okay.
piano book aquí.
Okay. Nice. Great.
How about our friends who have joined us on other?
Let us know something pink. It might be hard for some people because some people don't really, you either like it or you don't.
The pink, right? You either
The
have it in
pink.
your room or you don't.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I'm like, I have it, so that's an easy one for me.
Yeah, so esta ancla que estamos haciendo es muy importante porque la ancla es que necesitan ver por su alrededor, su cuarto y ver qué tienen de color rosado, ¿verdad? Y eso es una ancla porque pues muchas veces estamos en el futuro, estamos en el pasado, ¿verdad? En nuestra mente y no estamos centrados en el aquí, en el ahora. Y cuando nos preguntamos esta pregunta, ¿qué puedo ver de un color? Sea ahorita rosado, la camiseta de Diana es rosada. Cuando nos preguntamos esta pregunta, nos ayuda a estar aquí y
A
ver.
calmar, ajá. Solo porque queremos venir y porque a veces hablar de finanzas, como hemos dicho en los diferentes shows, a veces nos da un poquito de estrés porque queremos cambiar cosas o queremos cambiar muchas cosas y nos da ansiedad pensar a veces en decisiones que hemos hecho. So this exercise actually grounds us to like, because sometimes we want to change a lot of things, or we get like anxiety just to talk about finances. So it kind of brings us to the present moment and kind of like just listen to the information in a positive way. That's what we want to make sure. So queremos que todo lo miren de una manera positiva. Están informándose para hacer cambios, ¿verdad? Al final, so, no mirarlo como, oh, he hecho algo mal o he cometido un error, pero mirarlo más como algo positivo.
Sí, muy bien. And can you tell us, please, friends who have joined us, Francisco, Adam, I don't know if Edgar is still here, let us know what in your room is pink. And I'm acknowledging that there's some male energy in the room, so let us know if you got some pink all in your room. A ver, y también otra pregunta, ok, encima de, no, si tienen algo rosado. Queremos saber si tienen ustedes planes para un plan de emergencia, porque de eso vamos a hablar ahora.
Y vamos a dividirlo entre plan de emergencia y plan lo que llamamos de vida, que es diferente, porque a veces la gente lo mira como savings as a whole thing. And we have to make sure we separate it with goals. So we're talking first about the emergency savings part, and then we'll talk about other savings. We just want to make sure we separate them, because sometimes you put it together and sometimes you can run into some problems when you have it together, and then you start using your emergency money for things that are not emergencies. That's usually what tends to happen when we don't understand how to separate emergencies versus like life savings emergencies. That's how we call them.
Yeah, that is a really perfect thing, which actually is our very first question here, right? In terms of how do we define an emergency account?
Okay, so we're gonna go into an emergency account. So I'm gonna go pull out my information. I
Mm-hmm.
just really want you guys to understand and to define it, because sometimes if we don't define what an emergency account is, then we will not, it's kind of unclear how to use it, right? We
Right.
might all of a sudden say a lot, everything is an emergency, right? And then kind of use it and run out of the money when maybe none of the things or one of the things was an emergency.
Yeah.
So as we define it as really an unexpected expense, you really didn't see it coming. It could be like a job loss. It could be like unexpected illness, unexpected medical bill, or unexpected other bill. It was really unexpected. You did your budget great. You were budgeting. You understood the money that was coming in and out, and all of a sudden, when you allocated all this money, you get this unexpected expense, or they cut your hours, right? And that's considered an emergency. Everything else could fall into any other category.
Okay. So it's an unexpected expense.
It's unexpected. You didn't see it coming. An example, a lot of people use an emergency savings for car registration. You know that registration is coming. That's not an emergency. I can talk on how to save for that money, but it's not considered as financial coaches or as even financial advisors. That's not what we consider an emergency, because it's coming. It might be maybe an adjustment to your budget. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to use that money because you probably didn't save for that car registration, but you knew it was coming. Another one, so I'll give you three of that tend to kind of like graph from the emergencies. Another one tends to be when kids were right now we're in COVID-19, so kids are at home, but it tends to be when you guys have kids and you use that money to purchase school clothing. That's not an emergency. You know that every summer they go back to school.
Okay.
Uh, and the third one is car maintenance, oil change, changing tires. That's not an emergency. You know that the car needs car maintenance. If you know exactly around the time that you should be changing the oil, and depending on your commute, if you commute or you don't commute, you should have a good estimate of when you have to change the tires. So those are three of the main things that I've seen that people tend to use the emergency money for, when it's not. That's what we call a periodic expense. It doesn't come every month, but when it comes, could be a big expense. But yet again, it's not an emergency.
It's not an emergency. That's perfect. You took the question right out of my mind, because then would you state that, like, so we know that cars always break down,
Mhm.
So that is that a periodic expense or an emergency expense when a car breaks down? Because we
If
know at sometimes, yeah,
if
go ahead.
if it's if it breaks down and it's not because of car maintenance, it could be considered an emergency. But
Okay.
if the car maintenance of the tires and oil and things that are predictable are not
Hmm.
considered an emergency.
Okay. So in order to avoid car emergency expenses, it's important to keep up with the maintenance. And in order to keep up with the maintenance, it's important to budget for those periodic expenses.
Exactly. And the best way
That's
to
awesome.
budget the way, because it's clear when it comes to those kind of expenses, we kind of
Mhm.
are very good at kind of pinpointing when we have those, car maintenance because they tend to be pricey, so you can a good predictor of that for you to start doing periodic savings for that particular car maintenance, for example, is to
Mhm.
go back and look at every month of the previous year. It's gonna, if you have the same car, it's gonna give you a very good predictor, especially I know when we purchase like a lemon car or a bad car, it gives you maybe a good understanding if this is even worth it, or you should do the pros and cons of if you need a new car, because some of them,
Mhm.
you buy something at a good price and then all of a sudden, you're doing all this fixing, which is those are different ones, because really it's not the car maintenance, the car just could be a bad car.
Then, so we now, any questions before we move on to our Spanish translation? Any questions from our friends here on Instagram, on Facebook? If you're on Facebook, you can also comment. Um, yeah, let us know, everyone. Let us know. We can get your comments. Do you have an emergency savings? If so, uh, are you able to differentiate from like what Diana mentioned?
Periodic expenses versus
Mhm.
emergency savings. We just really want you to be very clear so you guys have a visual of what it is that you're saving for. The the most specific that you are on understanding the savings for emergencies and the savings for life savings, such as what I've mentioned, and we'll define it even more, later on, the better for you to achieve those goals faster, because now you are really looking at everything, right? You are really separating things in perspective, and even physically, right? Different, you could even have a different account for each thing, and it gives you an understanding of where you are with that savings, depending on what's gonna be the cost for that whatever goal that you have in mind, versus when you have everything in one account, it's kind of hard to say x amount of money is for this savings, I mean this goal, x amount is for x goal. It's just all together, and even though it's there, it gives you it's a little bit more challenging to understand where you are with each goal if you don't define what that money is going to do for you, and how much of that money isn't for emergency savings, and how much of that money is for other financial goals that you have in mind.
I want to encourage folks to join in on the conversation. Do y'all have emergency savings? Is it really for emergencies, or do you tap in into
Yes,
them? Let us
ask
know.
yourself.
Yes, ask yourself. So now we are going to transition into Spanish.
Okay.
So la pregunta para Diana, nuestra consejera de finanzas, es definir los ahorros de emergencia. ¿Y por qué es importante definir los ahorros de emergencia?
Yeah. So vamos a definir exactamente la diferencia entre un ahorro de emergencia y un ahorro de vida, que es completamente diferente. Más tarde les voy a dar un poquito más definición de qué es el ahorro de vida. El ahorro de emergencia, lo que va en el ahorro de emergencia es básicamente cosas imprevistas, es decir, no las vimos venir, no sabíamos que iban a pasar, no teníamos idea de que iban a pasar, fue casi imprevisto esta emergencia. Ejemplo es la pérdida de trabajo, pérdida de horas de trabajo, tal vez un pago de médico, que hubo una emergencia y tuvimos un nuevo pago que no habíamos predecido, o también, o otro pago que es decir, otro pago que fue imprevisto, aunque no sea de médico o no sea de la pérdida de trabajo, que fue y que es un pago a veces un poquito fuerte. Entonces, eso es lo que nosotros miramos como emergencia. Les voy a dar 3 equivocaciones que mucha gente usa para agarrar dinero de emergencia, pero para definirlas para ustedes que no es emergencia. Uh, usualmente cuando tenemos el ahorro de emergencia no se tiene que tocar más que para las cosas que previamente les dejé saber. Pero hay 3 cosas que he visto que usualmente que son muy populares donde agarramos del ahorro de emergencia para cubrir otros gastos, pero en sí no son emergencia y les voy a explicar por qué. Um, el primero a veces es cuando viene la registración del coche. La registración de coche no es emergencia. Sabemos que va a venir, sabemos más o menos cuándo se va a pagar. Entonces, no viene bajo la categoría de una emergencia, porque ya sabemos que cada año viene. La otra solamente es para los clientes, a veces que tienen niños en la escuela o en la universidad, es el comprar tal vez ropa para que regresen a la escuela. Ahorita estamos en tiempos obviamente especiales, so tal vez se han ahorrado esa parte de los gastos. Pero también los niños entrar a la escuela o la universidad no es emergencia. Ya sabemos que cuando entran, ya sabemos cuándo salen. Entonces no se considera emergencia. A la tercera es el mantenimiento del coche, es decir, las llantas, el aceite, no es emergencia porque sabemos que en un punto el carro se tiene que mantener para que siga funcionando. Entonces, usualmente esas tienden a ser las 3 que obviamente hay más, pero estoy hablando un poquito de las más populares, donde usamos del ahorro de emergencia para cubrir cosas que son lo que llamamos gastos periódicos, pero que no en sí son emergencias. Entonces, esto puede dañar el ahorro si después que estamos haciendo estos gastos y nos ponemos cómodos en hacerlos, pasa una emergencia y no es suficiente para cubrir la emergencia que ahora sí es emergencia.
Perfecto, porque también le pregunté a Diana, si nosotros estamos ahorrando para esos gastos, ¿cómo se dice? Esos gastos de
Periódicos.
periódicos de vez en cuando,
De vez en
¿verdad?
cuando.
De vez en cuando, como cuando tenemos que arreglar nuestros coches o hacer algo para nuestros carros. Si nosotros ponemos eso en nuestro presupuesto y estamos haciendo todo el tiempo el mantenimiento.
Mantenimiento, ya.
Gracias. Y eso significa que eso también nos puede ahorrar dinero, ¿verdad? Porque si estamos manteniendo nuestros carros, eso nos puede ahorrar dinero para que no tengamos esa emergencia, ¿verdad, Diana?
Sí, claro. Entonces, esto nos ayuda también al mismo tiempo de entender cuando vamos a hacer esta parte, también nos ayuda cuando estamos mirando el mantenimiento del coche. También a veces nos da una buena predicción de, de si nosotros tenemos que comprar un coche nuevo, ¿verdad? Porque el mantenimiento no es lo mismo que se está descomponiendo cada rato, es completamente diferente.
Ahora que los toca ver, a ver ahora cómo podemos, cuáles son esos pasos. What are the steps in creating an emergency plan? ¿Cuáles son los pasos para crear nuestro plan de emergencia?
Okay, so I wanted to simplify it for you guys because sometimes I tell you guys and tell you guys, but really, I just want you guys to understand that the foundation for all your other goals to become investors, to purchase homes, to go back to school, whatever you do, you have to have the foundation very strong because once it's a habit, you're gonna have it for a lifetime, right? It's a good habit. What you're doing, you're retraining your brain, especially for spenders. when you have the spending mentality, you are really relearning to become a saver versus people kind of like some people are like naturally more savers than spenders, so it can be a little bit easier for them. But even when we purchase different things, or we do investments, we want to make sure that we're really good at investing, we're really good at saving, and that comes with the foundation of savings, especially the emergency savings. If you don't have an emergency savings and something happens in your finances and that's very weak, it's like the foundation of a home. What happens to the home and the foundation is not strong enough, everything that it has worked for, everything that is up there could like collapse, right? So we have to be very mindful of how good we are with that savings, how good we are with those habits, because that is gonna determine all your other goals. Again, growing your wealth, purchasing, stocks, bonds, rentals, whatever you want, you have to know how to save. So that's why I always emphasize it, because I want it to be very strong, but I want it to be fun and easy as well. So especially when I think of people say, "Oh, I'm more like a spender," but like don't believe that you cannot do it. You can always do everything. Um, so I have Mando that said, "What is a good amount of percentage for to set aside for emergency savings?" Is really you have to look at your spending for 1 month, multiply it by three. So everybody has a different one. So that means, Mando, that if you decrease your spendings, then you can decrease your savings. So it's all tied in together to our lifestyle. And if you need, Mando, you can DM me and I can even send you the budget. You'll do it for a whole month. You multiply it by three, you got your emergency savings right there. You have a number for it. So the first thing I want to do, especially if you have more like if you feel like, oh, I'm more like a spender, um don't think that if you keep saying it, then you are limiting yourself. You can learn this. Don't see it as something negative. There's nothing negative about it. We all have different personalities, and when we come together, that's what makes us all special and work together. So I do want to say that. So one of the good things, for example, if you say, okay, I have no emergencies, or I feel like it's very small the amount, and I feel like I'm not making progress. Let's say that you want to start with let's say 300, right? Instead of saying, okay, I need to save those 300, you can say, okay, I'm gonna save 25 weekly. That makes it 100. So what you're doing, you are teaching your brain to slowly switch from spending to saving. And all of a sudden, trust me, all of a sudden clients come with business ideas. All of a sudden they're selling stuff. So you see, you're motivated because now you see like, oh, I don't have to, if I make changes, I can save. I don't have to limit myself on this is who I am, or this is all I can do. Like, the whole point is that when you're growing, especially financially in other areas, there's discomfort, but because you're getting out of your comfort zone, and that's good. That's a good thing. So I just want to make sure that the first step, don't it's kind of like when you want to lose weight, right? Instead of saying, I need to lose like 30 pounds, let me lose 5 pounds per month. Is the same concept. Because if you look at the whole amount, you might be like, oh, I'm never gonna achieve it, and become negative. So we want it to be like, oh, this is achievable. I can do 5 pounds, in a month. Same thing, I can do 25, dollars a week or a month. And once you hit that target, you're gonna continue increasing it. So what you're teaching your brain then is that you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So you're scaling, because you should always have an emergency savings. That's a lifetime goal. There's that one is never gonna change. If you can change any other goal besides the emergency savings goal, that always has to be there.
I love it. Gracias, Diana. So, les voy a explicar lo que los acaba de dar con este consejo muy importante, Diana, que es muy importante de comenzar pequeño. En inglés, mi hijo me enseñó de un dicho que es KISS, right? KISS, y que es keep it simple, stupid. But it's good, right? Because everything we keep simple, like simplicity is the name of the game. Y so, lo que significa eso es que es muy importante, especialmente con metas grandes, como dice Diana, comenzar pequeño. porque cuando necesitamos cambiar un hábito, necesitamos, es un hábito que pues ya tenemos, ¿verdad? Que siempre estamos haciendo la misma cosa todo el tiempo y para cambiar un hábito se necesita mucha disciplina, mucho enfoque y para poder hacerlo en una manera que no los da mucha ansiedad, mucho estrés,
Ujú,
es mejor hacerlo como bien, como comenzar pequeño, como dijo Diana, comiencen con ahorrando $25. Y yo me acuerdo cuando estaban en el mismo sector de Diana, nosotros educábamos al público y decíamos, pay yourself first. So,
ujú,
páguense a ustedes mismos primero. So, cuando ganen su chequecito del trabajo, siempre páguense primero a ustedes mismos y es importante de hacer esto automáticamente. Son muchos bancos que ofrecen la opción de poder poner de depósito directo, le pueden
ujú.
poner parte de lo que ganan a sus ahorros. Y Diana recomienda, porque nos preguntó un amigo aquí en Instagram, cuánto deberíamos ahorrar, cuánto deberíamos tener ahorrado, ¿verdad? Para una emergencia. Diana explicó que es 3 meses. Deberíamos ahorrar para 3 meses de nuestros gastos, ¿verdad? Pero obvio, comenzar pequeño, comenzar con esos depósitos directos automáticos de nuestro ingreso y hacer un 10%, un 3%, 5%, donde nosotros estemos más confortables, ¿verdad? Y poder poner ese dinero automáticamente en una cuenta de ahorros.
Sí. Sí, porque es la manera, y por eso, porque a veces hay gente, obviamente, que a veces dijimos de 3 a 6 meses, pero si yo ya les digo 6 meses, van a decir, oh, se mira otra vez negativo, ¿verdad? Entonces, por eso yo les digo que 3 meses, solamente enfóquese primero en el plan pequeño, ya cuando después se pongan cómodos y pongan 3 meses, podemos a volver a revisar su plan, porque después que ellos se acostumbren, porque ese es un plan de vida, entonces siempre con el tiempo se les va a hacer siempre más fácil, especialmente porque en contraste usualmente tendemos a subir en el salario, entonces se les va a hacer como que es menos si están reduciendo sus gastos y están ganando un poquito más. En vez de gastar un poquito más, ahorrar un poquito más, porque a veces si nos suben a veces el salario, la gente dice, oh, ahora tengo más para gastar en vez de decir más para ahorrar. Sí, sí. Uh -huh. Sí, esa es la mejor. Y la mejor manera para, entre menos deudas, más podemos hacer inversiones en otras áreas de nuestra vida.
Sí, menos deuda, más inversiones. What we just said. So less debt, more investments.
Yes.
I
That's where
love
you
it.
want to go. You want to build your wealth. So we have to change that spending into that savings so you can have opportunity because everything is an opportunity, right? Like if something drops, you have the money, you can get it. But what happens if it drops and you don't have the money?
Right.
You just missed an opportunity, right?
I love that. No, that makes so much sense. Okay, so then what's next on our list here is SMART goals, metas inteligentes.
Yes.
¿Qué significa SMART goals, Diana?
Son básicamente metas específicas e inteligentes. El acrónimo usualmente está en inglés, básicamente lo quiero definir que son metas específicas, reales y que son realistas y con un concepto de no fantasía. Es decir, que yo diga, oh, para el otro año, pues si gano, póngale en que yo gano 50,000 al año, yo digo, oh, para el otro año yo voy a tener algo, $1,000,000, ¿verdad? O sea, tenemos que ser realistas. No que no lo puedo obtener, pero tal vez estoy poniendo en contrastiva el tiempo mal. ¿Ok? Nosotros podemos lograr todas las metas que tengamos, pero tenemos que tener un plan realista, ¿verdad? ¿Qué vamos a hacer con los Smart Goals? Cuando ustedes ya, por ejemplo, como les dije, empiezan pequeños, nuevamente quieren ser realistas. Ok, ahora que, si pónganle que ya ahorraron $300. Ok, ahora deja volver a ver mi presupuesto. Ahora, ¿cuánto más puedo ahorrar? Ok, otros 300. Ok, ¿cuánto ocupo ahora sí para hacer, cuántos son mis gastos de un mes para seguir dividiéndolo en tal vez fases pequeñas hasta que yo logre esa meta? So, si miran, no están nada más aventando números así lo que venga a la cabeza, no, están sentándose a mirar qué es lo que estoy ganando, qué está entrando, qué está saliendo y cuánto es posible para seguir con esta meta. So, están siendo realistas, no están adivinando, no están poniendo números que tal vez se les vienen a la mente, son números realistas con conceptos realistas.
Perfecto. Ok, so con eso quiero preguntarles a nuestros amigos que están con nosotros. Quiero, I want to encourage everybody to join in on the conversation. That's what makes it really fun for us, you guys. Like when y'all participate, don't be shy. Let us know. Do y'all have a current goal, like in terms of an emergency goal, and is it smart, right? So Diana just spoke about like making our goals a smart goal. So S stands for
Specific,
M stands for
measurable,
A,
attainable,
R,
realistic,
and T.
time bound. You have a time for it, so it has to be specific. If I'm the most, because even if you have everything specific, I'm gonna save X amount, I'm gonna put it X day of the month, I'm gonna do it for X amount. If you don't know what it's gonna be for, that's what I'm saying, it has to be as much specific. What is this money for? You have to put a goal to that money, because if you don't, I had a client that, I had a couple of clients who before taking coaching, they're like, oh my God, Diana, I had like $6,000 or $7,000. But after saving the money, I was like, it's just sitting there. Might as well enjoy it. So they went and spend it. I'm like, it's okay. Let's see. They're like, you know what? I didn't even know what I saved it for. And then I went to the store and, my friends came to visit me. My family came. It was the holidays and I don't even know how I spent the money. Why? Because it did not have any specific work. You have to make your money work. You have to give it a task, and
Make
that's
your
the goal.
money
Make your
work.
money work.
I love that. Okay, so I want, again, friends, please join in on the conversation. Wherever you are joining from, we're on several channels right now. So, and we see you, we know you're here. Don't make us call you out by name. But okay, so I want people, let us know if you have a SMART goal. Remember, so let me give it Diana an example. Diana and also our friends can tell us whether or not it's smart or not. So here's an example. The goal is to have better yet, a friend just commented. A ver, gracias. Tenemos un amigo ahorita que los dio un ejemplo. A ver, un comento. También haciendo algo que pueda traer dinero a la mesa. Ejemplo, si alguien sabe y puede hacer unas o corte de pelo que no se pongan barreras en sí mismo. Yes, ¿qué piensas? I love this. Gracias.
Sí, porque a veces las propias barreras no las ponemos nosotros mismos. Oh, es que yo no puedo hacer eso. Like, nunca lo hemos tratado, pero ya le estamos diciendo a nuestra mente, limitando qué es lo que podemos hacer. Y eso se va otra vez a lo científico de que nuestra mente nos quiere proteger. Nuestro cuerpo no le gusta que tratemos cosas nuevas. Quiere hacer lo que ya está cómodo. Por eso cuando nos salimos de la comfort zone, nos da un poquito de ansiedad, porque el cuerpo nos está diciendo, oh, es peligro, allí no vayas, porque nunca lo has hecho. So, a veces nuestro propio cuerpo lo mira como un peligro cuando vamos a hacer algo grande o algo nuevo o algo que nunca hemos hecho.
Perfecto, gracias, Jaina. Sí, es verdad. Y quiero, hablando de hacer cosas que no estamos, que no sabemos que es nuevo, ¿verdad? Quiero decir que, ¿cuál es la palabra? I want to say this in English, how amazing Diana is. Porque, mire, cuando yo tuve esta idea de hacer Bilingual Finance Fridays, Diana no ni preguntó cómo lo vamos a hacer, nunca me dio ninguna excusa, nunca tuvo nada. Ella dijo, ok, let's go. Y lo hizo. Y yo nunca he hecho ningún live stream tampoco. Y dije, ay, gracias. Los dijo muy bien dicho, sí. Y resultó que pues yo tampoco sabía cómo hacer live streams, Diana, nunca hemos hecho eso, pero why not? Lo hicimos, ¿verdad? Y ahora y después, encima de ya tener este live IG en Instagram, le llamo a Diana y le digo, Diana, ahora vamos a estar en muchos otros canales. Ok.
I'm like, like it's such I think I like opportunities for us and to help others. So I
Yes.
think when you train your mind, even if it's scary, you're like, I have to do it because it's an opportunity, right? Like you're there, you are showing others the value of really taking control of your money, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't sometimes, you don't have to be the biggest expert when you do it. And I know like when you're passionate about something, it's gonna come out right because that's what you love to do.
Yes. Excuse me. So I wanted to mention in English. So we were talking. Sorry, I'm sorry. I have to go. Sorry. Something's on my throat. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's so weird when we cough ahora con este coronavirus.
We don't have corona.
We don't have corona in my throat. Pero queríamos darle, thank you, friend, who mentioned, about this he mentioned a comment about there's often times that we're able to do something but then we make these excuses and we don't go forward,
Mhm,
right? And essentially we all have the capacity to do something more. We all have the capacity to reach further, to try something different that gets us out of our comfort zone and that makes us some money, that brings in money, right? Even if we've never done it before. So I just wanted to really applaud Diana and thank her because both neither of us had ever done a live stream show before, but we wanted to serve our community, especially during this year, right? And so I had reached out and I was like, hey, Diana, you want to do this live stream show? She's like, yeah. Never once a complaint, never once a doubt in her mind. She's like, yeah, let's do it. She's so game. And then just so happens just a few weeks ago I was like, hey, Diana, let's do simul streaming. So that meant that, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. Total game, never a question in her mind about how we're going to do about it. And then I had to go through the process like, hey, Diana, guess what? We're going to have to use our phone and our computers. But we're doing it, right? And I didn't have experience either, but I taught myself, and that's what's up. We have to get out of our comfort zones, which is
mhm,
so perfect to say this because when we talk about planning for the future, that can cause us so much anxiety, right? We know that, right? But then also, not only does it cause us anxiety, but can you imagine, like right now, we're talking about creating an emergency plan, right? And so that's also getting us out of our comfort zone. So I want to give the mic back to Diana. Actually, we have another comment here. If Diana, you absolutely please address this, but definitely want to give the mic back to you because I know that you can make it fun and interactive for us in terms of really creating this smart emergency plan. What I wanted to say before was, an emergency smart plan something like, okay, from here till December 31st, I am going to have $500 in my emergency savings plan for an emergency. That's not something that's predictable. Is that enough to make it
yes,
smart?
yes, as long as you say, okay, the 500, but how are you gonna deposit those 500?
Okay.
Just the steps, because we want to make sure we go into the break it into steps, so it doesn't sound like, oh, 500, like, do I have to just bring in the 500, or am I gonna put it in small amounts monthly or weekly until it gets to December 31st?
Yeah,
But
awesome.
as a whole, you do have, it's a I do consider that a smart goal. The breakdown of the smart goal is to make it in small increments so people can make it easier. So for some people, the 500, just like that, might be like, okay, easy. I'm going to figure the small parts by myself. Other people are like, oh, 500 is too much for me. So it's how you see it, the perspective that you have. And that's why when I'm breaking it down into small increments, is for those who feel like, oh, it's too hard for me to save.
I love it. And our friend mentioned again, and please, Atara Motorsports, please write your name again. He mentioned, sorry, well, here, I'll say, so another tip is, example is taking baby steps by little, buying the tools needed for a bigger, thing. And better outcomes. So like doing car breaks can help you get money for tools to do tune-ups and little by little investing in yourself. I love that. Please write your name in again for me. I know you just told me. I'm sorry. But I love this because Juan, gracias Juan. Thank you so much, Juan. So Juan, you're based of Arizona, ¿verdad? You're in Arizona. And I have to tell everybody right now that I've been looking up at Juan's Instagram because I have a 2002 Honda Civic, an old school Honda Civic, que ahorita está patas arriba. So I should really give it up, you guys. La verdad. I mean, it's a 2002, but you know what? It's been with me since my son was 2 years old, ¿verdad? So
Oh.
I see Juan's auto shop, and I'm like, oh my goodness! I wish I had the money to transfer my car to Arizona and have Juan hook it up. Where's MTV? Remember MTV had the hookups on the car?
Yes.
Like, damn it. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much, Juan. Big shout out to him for, and then we have another friend here. Yes,
Annie. Hi, Annie.
thank you, Annie, for joining us. We're having such a good conversation. Okay, so great. Anyone else want to give us an example of a smart emergency goal?
Yes.
A ver.
Or let us know yours. Because if
Yes.
think about it, if
Yes.
you don't have one and you get it right now, October 2020, you're gonna go into 2021 with your goal. Especially because we have to really think things. Because on average, I think studies show that more than 50% of people who say they're gonna change their goal the first year of January, after 2 weeks, it's kind of gone. Why? Because it was something quick, fast that they didn't really think through, and it was not really a smart goal, and it was maybe something that they didn't really like. They were just kind of doing it because everybody else is doing it, and you want to do it for you, not for nobody else. I know. Annie, let us know if it was good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so for those, so just to do it quickly, so as you're increasing your goals, just remember by nature when you're increasing your goal, your savings, sorry, when we're increasing our savings, it does something for us, it boosts our confidence, it shows us that we can do it, it helps with our self-esteem. It's just more than the money part. So what this does for us, it shows us how to even go a little bit more out of our comfort zone. So one of the things that people ask is, oh, where should I put this money? With the emergency money. You can put it in a savings account. Sometimes the more you have saved for that emergency, sometimes they'll give you even a higher interest. Another really good one is the online savings account, which Christina already put here, the smartypick.com. It's an online account. So what it do, it usually give you a higher interest because it's online. They don't have to pay tellers or someone for you to go there physically. And the great part about it, the smartypick.com, actually, the great thing about it, it actually helps you create the accounts that you want and name them with your goal, and it tells you how much percentage for you to reach that goal you have every time. So it does like the smart goal for you. So for example, if I say, oh, I want to save 5,000 to purchase like a car, and if I have an X amount, it might be like, oh, you're like, you need 25 more percent to reach that goal. It actually puts everything in percentages for you. um and it's FDI insured. It's a regular account. It's just an online account, and you can actually write your goals. It tells you, what kind of goal you can write. The smart goal. Type in the sentence. It has everything. Like, I couldn't make it easier for you guys. Trust me. Smartypick.com. And however, for this online account, you have to have. Let's say you already have your own, because most people have already their own regular bank account. You can transfer the money from this account, your regular account, into the Smarty Pick, and you can leave the emergency money in the Smarty Pick account if you're like, oh, I have clients who say I don't even want to see the emergency because I know myself, I might spend it. So that's a great way for you to not have to go with another bank, but for you to not see the money neither, to kind of just put it into that savings without touching it unless it's an emergency. And you can even have other goals, but that one is clearly just the emergency money. So Smarty Pick is super good. Again, it's online. It has a really good interest in general because it's online. They don't have to pay, other extra fees for you to have this service.
Thank you
And
so much.
yes. And the other part, so you can put it in the Smarty Pay, which is the high yielding account. You can put it in the money market account, which is usually an account that you can write checks with, and they tend to have higher interest too. So making the assumption, because that is a good amount of money, because it's all your emergency money, they tend to have a higher interest. So you can do it as a money market account. This certificate of deposit too, but just remember you want to be cautious on how long the money is going to be there, because if you lock the money and you try to take it out, you could get a penalty. So you got to make sure. But usually those are the three mains: the online account, the
Mhm.
money market, or the certificate of deposit, where people save their emergency savings.
Okay, I love it. Thank you so much. And Diana also shared you also have a worksheet for
52,
us.
yes. I want to make it fun, so I try everything to make it
Okay.
fun. So you guys, if you guys want to start saving and you're like, oh, I want to make it fun, you can make it a competition among friends, family members, and do what we call the 52-week challenge. So week one, you save $1. Week two, $2, $3, all the way to 52 weeks. 52 weeks is actually a whole year. So by there, you have really, really had mastered the savings. You have really made it a habit by then. Usually it takes 6 months, I'll say, if you're doing it monthly, to build a habit. But if you it's better to double it, right, and do it a whole year. So by the end of the year, you actually have saved every week for 52 weeks, and you can use all that money for that emergency savings.
I love it. And if you DM us, we can send you the PDF of the 52-week money challenge savings plan. Aquí está en Facebook y en las otras redes. Tenemos un worksheet, ¿verdad? Que es para cómo ahorrar en 52
Semanas.
semanas,
Ujú.
cómo podemos ahorrar. Y la manera que funciona aquí es como la primera semana ahorramos $1, la segunda semana $2, ¿verdad? La tercera $3, así poquito a poco,
Ajá.
¿verdad? Y al final de los 52 semanas, ¿cuánto vamos a tener, Diane?
Más o menos como unos 1,378. Eso es para
Mm,
hacerlo simple. $1, nada cuesta ya $1. So, estamos haciéndolo lo más simple que
ujú,
podamos para ustedes. Y hay clientes que me dicen, oh, yo quiero empezar al revés, con las 52, 51, porque dicen, oh, es que eso me hace mentalmente pensar como que tengo que esforzarme menos. O si miran, es todo en la mente. Dicen, oh, si empiezo con el 52, cada vez voy a sentir que se me hace más fácil, en vez de que vaya subiendo la cuenta, va bajando la cuenta.
y
So, es
cada
como ustedes lo
mes,
quieran. Y cada semana,
o cada
semanalmente,
semana.
sí, son 52 semanas, o es semanalmente.
Ujú.
Pero hay clientes cuando les pagan, por ejemplo, cada 2 semanas, lo dividen ese cheque para poner las 2 semanas. So, es como funciona para ustedes, pero que están poniendo sus 52 semanas en sus ahorros. Y pueden usar el smartypig.com online account.
Y el smartypig.com también se puede acceder esta
Es
herramienta.
sí, el Smarty Pig solamente es un online account, so puedes poner tu dinero de tu chequera normal al Smarty Pig para las 52 semanas, solamente
Okay.
para que no toquen ese dinero y sea específicamente para los ahorros.
Y me gusta también esta idea porque yo soy emprendedora. Hola amigo, gracias, thank you for joining us. Me gusta esta idea porque como emprendedora ahora tengo un bill
Mm,
de $800, ¿verdad? Porque,
ujú,
¿cómo se dice? I incorporated my business y es $800 pagar eso al Estado
ujú.
para tener mi negocio encima del costo de las licencias de mi negocio, ¿verdad? Yo ya sé que cada año voy a tener una
Gasto.
factura,
Ujú.
un gasto ya casi de $1,000 para mí. Y yo pienso que haciendo este challenge, the 52 Week Challenge, me va a ayudar para poder tener ahorrado ese dinero para cuando tenga
Ujú.
que pagar nomás para la licencia de mi negocio. Y eso me hace mucho.
Sí, sí, y lo puedes hacer, Cristina, dividiéndolo y puedes usar también el Smarty Pick para que cuando llegue ese bill no se sienta tan pesado de que, oh, de repente tengo que dar 800 de un solo, lo puedes estar dividiendo porque ya sabes, oh, este bill va a ser cada año para mi negocio.
Sí, cada año. Muchas gracias. A ver, amigos, aquí ya vamos a terminar. Nomás tenemos unos minutos. Hemos hablado de cómo crear un plan de emergencia. Diana los hizo súper fácil para nosotros. Podemos comenzar de poquito a poco,
Ujú. Sí,
¿verdad? Con $1 a la semana
sí.
y comenzar a aumentar eso. Díganos si ustedes han tratado este sistema.
O si les funciona o si ya tienen sus SMART goals.
Ya tienen sus SMART goals,
Hi,
ya tienen,
Priscila.
Priscila, ya tienen sus metas. A ver, conversen con nosotros porque pues nos encantan cuando ustedes nos dicen de sus metas.
Sí, son nada más y es mucho más fácil si las hacen ahorita nuevamente antes de que comience el 2021, especialmente porque muchos se han acostumbrado a que si no están commuting por el COVID-19, están gastando ese dinero en otras cosas. So, no, póngalo como que sí tenían ese gasto para que ustedes sigan teniendo la mentalidad de ahorrar, porque si nunca cambian ese hábito, siempre que llegue más se convierte en gasto adicional.
Oh my goodness, sí es importante. Ahorita tengo muchas amistades que dicen que están ahorrando dinero porque pues ya no están viajando, ¿verdad? Pero como dijo Diana, es importante de tener esa intención de los ahorros, ¿verdad? Porque si tenemos, aunque lo tengamos ahorrado nuestro dinero, si no tenemos una meta para esos ahorros, un día, como hizo un cliente de Diana, un día lo gastaron todo. ¿Verdad? Y eso también es importante, me gustó mucho esta plática porque también es importante de definir qué es los gastos de emergencia, ¿verdad? Porque pues ya sabemos que vamos a tener que arreglar nuestro carro o que tenemos que hacer un mantenimiento y después ya cuando nos toca ese mantenimiento o la registración del carro y después decimos, oh, pero esta es una emergencia, Diana explicó que no es una emergencia.
No, no, es un plan, es un gasto periódico. So
Periódico.
it's not an emergency. So we have to define it so we don't do those mistakes.
Thank you, Diana. And then that's so important. I just want to say that those are my takeaways. What are your takeaways, friends? What are your takeaways from another Bilingual Finance Fridays? And as you tell us, as you comment and let us know, I have a call to action for our folks. So Diana and I have been doing this now for several months. I want to say we now have maybe a total of 22 episodes, Diana.
Yes, oh
Okay.
my God.
High five to us. This has absolutely been a labor of love. It's definitely definitely time consuming. It requires a lot of time. So we want to thank Diana for always coming every Friday to give of her time and her energy to help us, right, to empower us in our finances. And so we want to also ensure that we're also giving us each other breaks, right? And so if you want to co-host and interview Diana and be in my chair, please DM us, let us know. But also, if you have some finance knowledge, like if you're in a different state and you have a licensing as a financial coach, please also join us if you want to be interviewed. So two different calls, right? If you want to interview Diana, take my spot, please let me know. If you also want to be interviewed, please let us know. We want to also bring in more people to our community, right? And please share with folks. Let folks know about this show. It's an important show, and as it helps to empower our community. It's been a labor of love. It will continue to be a labor of love,
Yes.
but it helps when you comment whenever we are able to save this recording on all the platforms. It helps when you comment. It helps the algorithm of this post of the videos to get more viewership. When you share, when you save, when you comment,
Yes.
the very last thing that you can do, but we still appreciate it, is if you say,
Yes.
if you like it. But
And we have 18 seconds left. So I
oh
just do want
yes,
to
do
say
it,
that
do it.
for the other ones that want other, talk about other real estate and other things in other states, remember that we're going to be talking to other people in other states. Okay. Thank you so
Okay,
much
thank you
for being in
everyone.
our show.
Hola, Diana. Diana, no te vayas. Oh, hello. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. If you're on Facebook, YouTube,
Um,
Twitter, thank you so much for joining. I got a little distracted here
Christina, can
because
you hear me?
we got
Are you
off
still live?
through Instagram. We're still going on here, but we want to say our quick our quick goodbyes until next time. I hope that you all were able to participate and you're able to gain a lot from this. Diana, you're still with me. I'm gonna end our broadcast, but I still love to chat with you
Okay.
after.
Yes, that's fine. I'll
Thank
stay.
you, Diana. Ciao, ciao.